welcome to Horror Madness with Deb and Dana.
Tonight, we are talking about Critters from 1986, written by Stephen Herrick and Brian/Dominic Muir. And it was directed by Stephen Herrick, starring Dee Wallace, Billy Zane, Scott Grimes, and Nadine Vandervelde.
And I mean, like, a bunch of other people.
Oh, and a bunch of other people. Those are just the names I picked.
Yeah.
The special effects were done by none other, goodness, I can't talk, than the Chiodo Brothers, which makes me so happy. I love the Chiodo Brothers. It's like a recent, like, I always knew I liked them, but, like, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, the stuff that they do is top of the line. Like, wow, every time. Movie magic. Like, that's their thing. They're all about perspective views and movie magic. And literally, like, I had written down Chiodo Brothers in the house and stuff, and we were like 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, God, why does this like legitimately look so damn good? And then I was like, oh, it's just the Chiodo Brothers doing what they did, everything they've ever done.
I think this was like their first big one. This was before Killer Clowns.
Is it before?
Yeah, Killer Clowns was 88.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this was 2 years before. And I had to double check that because when we were watching the special features out, they were like, this was the first big thing we did.
Yeah, I heard him say that, and I heard first big thing, and I just assumed that they didn't count Killer Clowns because it was like it was like their thing.
Yeah, no, I double checked. Killer Clowns was 88.
Yeah, so my first bunch of notes are just about how kind of amazing everything looked in this crazy sci-fi / horror movie that's mostly sci-fi.
It's mostly sci-fi. Yeah, it is mostly sci-fi. This is a little PG-13 horror movie, much like the Gremlins, in the realm of the Gremlins.
Oh, much unlike the Gremlins.
But
there's nothing to do with the Gremlins. How dare you?
I mean, this, apparently they got, they got criticized a lot for how much like the Gremlins it was, but it was written before Gremlins, and the script went through massive rewrites.
But I don't know about massive.
It went through a lot of rewrites, and this is not a Gremlins ripoff. I think Dana probably likes it better than Gremlins.
Oh, I almost hate to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
probably like this more than Gremlins.
I love these little guys. I love Gremlins. I might like Critters more. I don't know. I
love Gremlins. I do.
Do you?
I do. I love Gremlins.
He's terrified.
I'm just terrified of Gremlins. I'm not terrified of Critters.
No, that's
okay. So this is when the movie starts, that big rock-looking thing that I was just like, oh my God, that looks incredible.
It does.
It looks great. Stupid good. It doesn't look like Mystery Science Theater 3000. It doesn't look like... It looks so damn good. It's ridiculous.
It looks amazing.
So
such a
this
huge
was
fan.
Also about when I realized that this is a 2K restoration that I don't think could humanly possibly look any better no matter what.
Wait, this is 2K?
2K restoration.
What?
I don't think it could look any better.
I think it would look worse in 4K.
So that's the thing. That's where I was going. Hellraiser,
yes,
was in 4K, and I think it only suffered from being in 4K. I think it looked better before, and that's how you made movies in the 80s.
No,
and
they
stuff,
weren't
is
made.
That, like, a low budget movie, you knew that things were going to be blurry so you could get away with more.
They weren't made to be super defined,
Yeah, they were purposely made knowing that the viewer is going to see a blurrier version.
It looks good. And we get the warden, and I think the warden looks great. The makeup on him, the initial alien guy, the warden of
Darvos from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks way too much like Darvos.
He does.
So, at this point, I kept throwing out how many things looked like Doctor Who. And by the end of the movie, I'm just like, oh, shit, no. Like, they were going for this. Like, they purposely made a billion nods to every movie.
They did. There is great nods. But yeah, there's a little space war. Not even a space war. We got a jailbreak.
Yeah, it's a jailbreak where a lot of eight,
yes.
8 Krites that don't have thumbs somehow broke out and stole a spaceship and drove it and are an advanced civilization. So then we go to the house with the people, Dee Wallace and fam.
Yeah, it's a pretty little white picket fence farm.
And she's got that hipster coffee maker. They're not slow brewing. No, she's got that funnel.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the like fabric and stuff and I was just like, come on. No one used that.
Also, I loved her cottage kitchen. Like,
I love the colors. They were very bright and
I loved
standout colors.
I loved that kitchen.
It is wild how good this movie actually is, how good the acting is, how good the cinematography is. It's weird. There are points in this movie that you could be like, no, it's a B movie, but overall, it's not.
I mean, it is a B movie, but
it is.
It is a B movie,
It's
but
one of the
it
best
is
made B movies.
amazing. Yeah, there's Dee Wallace making coffee in an adorable cottage kitchen that I love.
Yeah,
I love that kitchen.
Well, I mean,
and it
because
just
they're
feels like a home, and it's wild to me that that was a house made just for this movie, because it feels like a home. Like,
yeah, it's beautiful. It is crazy. The whole thing, everything is just a set that was just made for this movie. It gets blown up and unblown up and then remade in a miniature later on. And then we go from Dee Wallace and all of her hipster coffee making straight to the farmer dad, which I think
fitting.
Yeah, I think
it's super fitting.
Fitting and carries out throughout the movie for no apparent reason whatsoever. In the beginning, very beginning, he threatens to stab his child with a knife.
Wait, what? How did I miss that?
He's like he pulls up his knife that he's eating breakfast with and like threatens towards his kid just for like absolutely no fucking reason at this point in this movie.
I mean, it's the 80s.
Yeah, so in the 80s, if you weren't alive in the 80s, things were so different. You can't even understand. So I feel like an urban legend from the 80s and 90s my whole life was that fillings in your teeth could pick up radio signals.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no.
Also, I feel like that's not what they make fillings out of anymore. So, like, anyone younger than me would be lost on that being a thing.
Yeah, no.
But it's not lost on me. I was there. I want to, like, stick an antenna to some of my back teeth and be like, oh my god, aliens are attacking.
So, there is the scene with the beautiful little farm. Grover's Bend, Kansas. Little cottage kitchen. We talked about all that. And we're back on the spaceship. Let me tell you, the song that is written for this movie, Power of the Night.
Power of the Night. Good God.
I thought it was kind of a banger.
Apparently, they made this song in 20 minutes Not by famous people, just the dude in the movie and a couple of his friends made this song in 20 minutes.
Specifically for this movie.
It's a fucking banger and I love it.
Just like Fall Break. No, these last minute, like, Fall Break's a banger. Power of the Night, fucking banger.
It's not Fall Break. Fall Break
It's not Fall Break.
is like the most 80s banger of all time. It is the most banging ass banger that ever banged them.
It's Dana's favorite song that ever existed.
Yeah, like I fucking love that song.
Okay, so we digress off of the movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're doing a movie.
Okay, so Power of the Night.
Power of the Night.
Faceless bounty hunter aliens transform into humanoids with the coolest effects. The forming of the skull in the face that was like shot in reverse, like
Yeah, it's a banging ass special effects thing that is very clearly and obviously in reverse and like, but it's still such a great scene. So they put heaters, like it was I guess a couple of models
yeah.
of the I don't know, non-substantial alien face and then like a skull, and they like literally melted it from underneath, and it's like hours of them melting the gelatin and wax and stuff off of the figures, and wow, it is a beautiful and great effect that I think is definitely on par with Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, it definitely
I
is.
think it is on par. I don't think it's better.
It's a great scene. And the aliens transform into the fictional rock star Johnny Steele, who sings Power of the Night. It's a good time to talk about the score of this movie. We always talk about the music.
Yeah, it's a good score.
I love the score. There is whimsical moments. So this movie is scored by David Newman, and he scored Heathers, Matilda, Scooby-Doo, and a bunch of other things. Those are just the things I'm mentioning because those were the things I love.
When we're talking about what I love Killer Clowns. There's nothing in Killer Clowns that I don't absolutely love. This movie is mid. Nightmare on Elm Street stuff is garbage, and I hate it.
Yeah, Killer Clowns, top of my list of movies, scores, everything. Scores, Killer Clowns is...
Talking horror movies, Killer Clowns.
Love Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns can't be beat. That score is unbelievably perfect in every possible way.
It is.
This movie, it is very acceptable.
David Newman did a good job.
Slightly above mid. It is very good.
Also, you know, again, we talked before about like watching movies critically. I didn't realize the guy that scored Critters scored Heathers. Heathers is one of my favorite movies.
Well, so how about the fact that almost everybody in this movie went on to do bigger and better things?
Yeah.
It was Billy Zane's first speaking role.
Yes. Billy Zane. He's coming up. Billy Zane comes to dinner. Billy Zane was in Back to the Future 2 as one of Biff Jr.'s goons.
But he did not have a speaking role, and that was his first actual role, I think.
This is Billy Zane's first speaking role, and God, I love Billy Zane.
He did a great job. It was.
Billy Zane is also the reason we're doing this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna see Billy Zane at Mad Monster, and so I was like, let's do Critters. So, the aliens transform into the fictional rock star of Johnny Steele, and then back on Earth, there's some family shenanigans, some fireworks, some fights, some bullshit, and Billy Zane comes to dinner.
We also skipped over the young brother.
Oh, he's up there, little boy Brad.
Is one of the best child actors I've ever seen. This kid's fucking banging. Like, he's great. But what also this kid is a fucking menace.
Oh, he is a menace to
This
fucking
kid
society.
is both a amazing good person and the worst menace in the world all at the same time.
He's just like blowing shit up with fireworks.
You know what that is? You know what that is? Good writing.
Ah!
Good writing. How a child actor who's a very good actor can be both a menace that you kind of hate and the best person in the movie. That's called good writing.
No, so he was a menace in the beginning, and he is the hero of the movie. Kudos
In
to
a lot of
Scott
ways.
Grimes.
There's no point in this movie that you're like, oh, it's a kid, he's acting bad. No, he's
No.
acting as good, if not better, than everyone
Yeah,
else
no.
in this movie. Dee Wallace and Billy
He's-
Zane.
I mean, Billy Zane's got like 3 lines, and then he dies, but he's got lines.
So that's also a bit of a thing. So Billy Zane's death scene was much longer, and they spent
Yeah.
like a portion of the budget on Billy Zane's death scene that no one ever saw.
The MPAA gave it an R rating, and they were dead set on a PG-13 rating.
So we've also missed some things that I have notes on. I'm gonna go with this first. It was Billy Zane when he shows up, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he meets the dad, and they have the awkward handshake, and he shakes the dad's greasy finger.
I missed
But
this
it's like
completely.
so many points in my life, and if you are neurodivergent in any possible way, you have also experienced this an infinite amount of times in your life where you try to shake someone's hand and shit gets weird, and you're just like, man, I don't know if I need to pound your fist. I don't know if I need to shake your hand. I don't know what needs to happen right now. Could we just say hey and just skip all this fucking bullshit? So, the Billy Zane shows up. The dad's all greased, and the guy tries to like shake his hand, and like the dad, the most badass ultra American that ever lived, that's trying to murder his son and stuff at every point. He ends up just like shaking his pointer finger covered in grease and looking at his hand and being like, what the fuck?
Completely.
That was my favorite thing in this entire movie. I don't know how you missed that. It is low key. It isn't super obvious. The other thing
Okay.
is, so when the sister gets hit in the butt with the slingshot,
Oh,
their
yes.
slingshot, they are pointing at a new Coke. They're not pointing at a Coca-Cola. They are pointing at new Coke from the mid-'80s whole situation. That ain't a regular Coke. That is a new Coke.
You only know that because you're from Atlanta.
Which, fair, and I don't understand not being from Atlanta. My whole childhood was new Coke and New Wave Coke and Coke 2.
Yeah, that was the family shenanigans.
Yeah.
And then there's a UFO headed for Earth that everybody sees. And it is crash landing full of krites. Or critters, or is it criters? I mean, they say critters in the movie, but they're called krites.
Yeah, which is just like Criters, which, like, I don't know. You can't name a movie that. That'd be super fucking weird.
Like, the critters crash land on Earth, and they're so hungry. These little guys are just hungry. So, they eat a cow.
They eat it in a cow.
They eat a cow. And there's little red eyes in the window.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
So-
Dee Wallace is way overacting. I'm sorry, I love Dee Wallace.
I don't think she is overacting.
I think she
everyone else is underacting.
I think she overacts in this movie. a
I
little
think
bit.
she acts properly in the situation, this whole movie, and I think no one else does. I think everyone else is just like, yeah, I don't know. Bunch of fucking wild alien fucking monsters are
Which I
destroying the
have in
planet
my-
Earth.
I have
And
in my
everyone's
notes
just
later.
like, cool, whatever.
Cool. No.
It
little kid
is what it
Brad
is. Yeah.
is just like chill as fuck about the whole thing.
And Dee Wallace is like, no,
Ah!
fuck.
Bleh.
There's fucking aliens killing everyone and our town is being destroyed. Holy fuck. And everybody else is just like,
Meh.
is it?
Is
And
it?
then she's like, yeah. Well, she doesn't say that. But like in the movie, it's just like, yeah, it is. And everybody's just like, that's fucking wild, huh?
So the power goes out. The dad's a great actor. He's like, click, 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 click. This phone's dead. No children today know what that's like. It's wild. Wild. So he tries to fix the power down in the basement and he sees the wires have been chewed and he finds a critter. And it attacks him. And the sound effects are awesome. And the critter...
Yeah, the Foley effects and the sound effects are fucking amazing.
Yeah. Apparently the critter shoots spikes like fucking porcupines. And roll up like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Poison spikes.
Poison. And they get like... They shoot people in the neck and they get like... fucking mounds.
So that's right. They get like the big thing, but like also no one seems to be hurt by it.
Yeah, it's weird.
They also don't seem to like get high from it or anything. So it's not like a psychedelic or
no, it's
anything. Like I'm not sure what those,
Mom
they
got real
slow
tired.
them down, right? Yeah. Like, it seems to be the least effective defense possible.
Yeah.
Because, like, everybody that gets hit with them are already injured.
Yeah.
They're already, like, fucked up and half dead. I mean, Dad gets hit with, like, a bunch
of spikes. But he
And
also gets, like, bit in the neck and bit in the leg. And
right, like, he's legitimately fucked up, but he's
Yeah.
too American to die from an alien. Like, he is the most badass dude that ever existed. Like, everybody is.
Yeah, no, everyone in this movie is really badass.
Yeah, it's into the
Like,
point of
I
being
think
unbelievable.
2 fucking people died in this whole movie.
I only
Billy
counted
Zane.
one. Oh, yeah, Billy and the cop.
And the cop.
The cop that doesn't even really
And
have
that's
a name.
what
He
we're...
does have a name.
Jeb. And that's where we're at. The faceless aliens, the shapeshifters, take over.
Ooh.
He's just peeing.
So,
But I
yeah.
guess he's taken over a bot. And Billy Zane's not even dead yet. Because we go to the barn where they're about to shaboink. And the critter attacks Billy Zane. And kills him. And... it could have been a way better scene. I feel like it could have been way better
And
if
it
they
was.
had left it all in.
But it was not rated. Ultimately, this movie is so damn good, it's unbelievable.
It is so good.
And I want to think that if it would have had an R rating, it would be infinitely better. But at the same time, like, maybe them shooting for PG-13 so hard is why this movie's...
So...
Everyone that made the movie said that, like, most movies that are on this level of cult classic, like, actual good movies, it's just, like, everything just... Star Wars and stuff. Like, everything just accidentally fell together. No one intended for it to be so damn good. It just accidentally ended up being as good as it is. And I think this is a crazy underrated movie with that. It is so damn good, and most people don't realize.
I think this is a great PG-13 movie. It is a great sci-fi / horror / something you can watch with your family. Like, it is a fun movie, and that's what makes it great. If they tried to go hard with the dark, I don't think it would have been as good.
So I think that's a thing that has been proven time and time again. You have a horror movie, a gigantic budget, with a couple exceptions like The Shining. They just CGI it the fuck up, and it's just straight garbage that no one that's ever lived wants to watch. And you give a horror movie no budget, and people bust their ass and make a good movie and try to make a good movie instead of just throwing money at it. Because when you just throw money at a horror movie, it very rarely works out.
So, the shapeshifter bounty hunter aliens took over a cop's body, stole a cop car, drove it in reverse like blocks and blocks and blocks, crashed into the church. The church was not built very well because the whole thing just like fucking crumbled.
Yeah, it crumbles in a not actually built building sort of fashion.
Yeah, no, like it just like falls the fuck apart.
Yeah, it just kind of folds at the slightest thing.
And that alien number 2, so the alien number 1 stays as Johnny Steele.
Yeah, the whole time.
The whole time. The other alien is changing bodies.
Yeah, he goes dead cop, Reverend.
Yeah, it turns into the
Charlie.
preacher. Then he turns into Charlie, and I can't keep fucking track. He stays after he turns into Charlie. He stays Charlie.
Yeah, he's 3 different actors.
And meanwhile, the Brown family, their last name, the Brown family, is trapping themselves in the house. It's like 2 different movies going on because you have the bounty hunters looking for the Krites, and you have the Browns fighting the critters, and it's almost like 2 separate things going on, but it works.
Yeah, everything works so well.
It works great.
Ridiculous.
And the Browns have like barricaded themselves into the home.
Oh, the thing that doesn't really work that good. So we get to the bowling alley scene. One of the big things in the movie is they've got the Ghostbusters pin busters.
Oh yeah, the
thing.
pin busters. Yes.
They've got E.T., they've got Ghostbusters, they've got a couple other big name things that were apparently allowed.
Well,
Because they said stuff about it in the bonus features and stuff that they weren't sure if it was
the
going to be
E.T.,
allowed.
yeah.
The E.T., but then they ended up being able to use the real
maybe
E.T.
it's because Dee Wallace was in it. I think they were like,
I think it's corporate studio
maybe.
stuff,
I don't know.
actress.
It could be Dee Wallace.
She's not in Ghostbusters.
No. It also was just like an homage.
Yeah,
It was
just,
slight, and I noticed
nod
it.
to it, but also it's 100% copyright infringement, so they had to be allowed to be able to do it.
And the E.T., they said the E.T. stuffy was a great scene. And it's great. Dee Wallace played the mom in E.T. And Dee Wallace played the mom in this movie. Both about aliens. Both times she plays the mom. Both times the kid is the hero.
They're a little similar.
They're not similar, but
So I think the only point in this movie where I thought everything was bad and off the rails was when the aliens walk into the bowling alley. And everyone looks them up and down in a way that would suggest, look, go back and watch this scene. Yeah. Everyone looks them up and down in a way that would suggest they are the sexiest person they've ever seen. They don't look at them with shock. They all look them up and down like, what up, girl? What up, dude? Why are you looking so good tonight?
He is in the body of a famous rock star.
Yeah, but they're just busted in and they're shooting shit up, and everyone's reaction is supposed to be, I'm looking at you because you're dressed strange, and it's supposed to be, it's clearly and obviously and definitely supposed to be, we don't like your kind around here. But everyone's face and body language is like, God damn, what up, girl? What you doing in here?
So this whole time, all this shit is going on. This little ass 12-year-old is unfazed
Mm-hmm.
by everything. His mom is freaking out. His dad's like, "Oh, I can't send you out there."
The
Take
dad
over."
is an absolute dickhead.
Yes.
He's also the most all-American badass that's ever badassed him to a point that is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
To a comic point, which I guess they were going for.
Yeah.
This is not meant to be a comic.
They said they were towing the line. They wanted camp. They wanted funny. They
And
were going for a PG-13.
It comes across so much less in this movie than it does in Killer
Yeah.
Clowns. Like, you can watch it as a comedy. Like, I don't think you can watch this movie as a comedy.
No,
but it
it's-
has a lot of great comedy in it.
It does.
And
it does.
a lot of that comedy is dry comedy. A lot of that comedy is the dad.
Yeah.
A lot of it is things that, like, unsuspecting dry lines that, like, you can't, the first time you watch it, you're not going to be like, oh, fuck, that was
Yeah.
funny. But, like, after you understand and have absorbed the movie and you watch it again, it's like, oh, no, that's
No,
like one of
no,
the
that's-
funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I love this movie.
Oh, my God. Let's not forget. Hold on, this is a big point. I don't even know where we're at. We're so convoluted. You're supposed to keep us on track of what's happening.
I thought I did.
You haven't. So,
Our notes are wildly different tonight, which is wild.
which
That
is
doesn't happen
unusual.
often.
Yeah. So, at one point, a ceiling fan falls on a critter, and the critter dies from a ceiling fan falling from 5 feet. But then, so there's 8 critters, right?
8.
I was keeping track hard. I was like, there's 8 critters. And then I was like, 1's dead. There's 7. 2's dead. There's 6. 3's dead. Like, I was keeping track hard. And then, like, this critter just gets killed by a ceiling fan. These bounty hunters are murdering them with giant cannon monster things, but it can just be killed with a ceiling fan. At that point, I was like, you could just kick one real hard. But also, I noticed there's a point right after this when they're shooting them in the toilet, and there's the 2 run. We got to rolling down the stairs and escaping and stuff. At some point, I was like, there was only 8. There was only 8. And like 5 have died, but 4 are still alive. So, no one said this, but I would like to headcanon that the one that got hit by the ceiling fan and died, I guess, didn't die from the ceiling fan?
A ceiling fan.
Right, which is a ridiculous thing to die from. So, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
That was dramatic.
Yeah, you do that. While you're punching beers. Deb's like the rest of the town, and she's like, oh, we're getting murdered by aliens. I'm just going to punch this beer for no reason. She is not T. Wallace.
I'm not. I mean, most of the time I am. I feel like most of the time I'm overreacting.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, she'll just punch a beer right at a $10,000 computer and just be like, fuck you.
You would be D. Wallace.
I don't think I'd be D. Wallace. I think I'd be the American badass dad. But I would have some lines.
Give a fuck about fuck.
Neither did the kid.
No, the kid was a fucking badass.
They're
and
both
the hero
just like
of the
fucking
movie.
whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking
They're
alien.
men.
Human existence has ended. Fuck it. I'm gonna punch one.
So, like, okay, so that might be an issue with this movie.
Also, punching one might work. But
Until they grow. So we haven't even talked. They grow. They're little and cute and furry, and I love them, but they grow and grow and grow. And the shadow effects are so cool. Fucking I love the Kyoto brothers.
Oh man, they should have done a million more movies.
They absolutely should have. So,
Roger Corman was supposed to have directed this movie.
yes.
It was.
There was a lot of things with this movie.
This was a Roger Corman jam, and it didn't end up that way.
I want to get through the end of this movie and then talk about all those things in the movie.
Well, we're at the end. Fuck it.
Brad saves his sister. The critters run off with the sister we haven't even talked about. Brad had a sister.
Did he?
Yeah, she just screamed the whole time.
Yeah, it was bloody a bunch.
Yeah.
She didn't really have anything to do with the movie.
She didn't, except she's the reason, like, Brad got his butt into gear. And the critters,
Brad?
little boy.
I think he was just a badass. I think he was a monster. He was Dennis the Menace.
He was Dennis the Menace, but
who was destroying people's lives.
Wasn't making anybody's life worse. He was just being a kid. Kids are kids.
All right, so let's wrap this up.
So, after little B-Rad saves his sister, the critters fly off. And just because they love to destroy shit, the critters blow the farmhouse up on their way out, like the little terrors that they are.
Yeah, just like they did.
But little B-Rad stuffed a firework in their spaceship.
A lot more to it than that. But
No. And they blow up.
They blow up after blowing up their house.
And Dee Wallace is still freaking out.
Beautifully freaking out. Everyone else in the movie seems to be
like,
in a different movie.
Yeah,
it is. Nothing matters. But everyone acts so great. Everyone's acting job is phenomenal.
Everyone.
Yeah,
this is a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie.
And the kitty cat survived.
Yeah. Kitty cat survives. And then they get the reverse scene with the house blowing up.
Okay, so this is super cool scene. And apparently there's two different endings.
Apparently nothing. We watched both of them. In the theatrical release, some theaters showed one ending and some theaters showed the other ending.
Yeah. So, and the ending that everybody knows is the shapeshifters end up putting the farmhouse back together again in a really cool, like, reverse shot. It's shot super well, and it's a cool scene, and I said, I'd like to know how they did it. And then I watched the special features and learned how they did it.
Everything was real. Everything was live action. Everything was fully built. Until that last scene that was made 8 months after everything else.
So, they released the original version. And then somebody in a test screening was like, it would be really cool if they put the house back together again. And it was a happy ending. And Bob Shea was like, yeah, it would. So they reshot the whole ending. So some theaters... the Kyoto Brothers? Yeah, the Kyoto Brothers were saying their cousin watched a movie.
They watched it twice in one day and saw both endings in the same day at different theaters.
Yeah, and there's some little eggs left behind for critters too. So we did watch the making of. We watched a ton of special features on this.
Dee Wallace somehow in 30 years aged 10 years, and Lin Shaye aged 60 to 70. We saw Dee Wallace in real life a year ago, and Dee Wallace still looks 30. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Lin.
But she's like great, and she was great in this movie as Sally. She was, and we didn't talk about Sally at all. But she was great, and.
Yeah, she might be my favorite role Lin Shaye ever had.
I'll talk about a few things. The Critter script was like ad-libbed. The voice actor said it was like a sound effects assignment, and he used a lot of French and Japanese and made the critters come to life, and it was really cool.
They sound a lot like the goblins in the labyrinth.
They do.
Which I kept waiting for the voice actor guy to be like, yeah, and then I also did the goblins in the labyrinth. But he never said that. So I'm assuming he didn't, even though they sound a whole hell of a lot like the goblins in the labyrinth.
They do. So what it boils down to. I love this movie.
So Lilo and Stitch is a ripoff of this movie. Futurama has that little creature that's just
Nibbler.
a ripoff. Nibbler is just a ripoff of this movie. Mostly Lilo and Stitch. Like, Stitch is literally just a ripoff of Critters. Love Lilo and Stitch, but like, it came out decades after this movie and is a total and complete ripoff of Critters.
And Critters is not a ripoff of Gremlins. Like we said earlier, it was written supposedly before Gremlins. But the success of Gremlins made New Line want to make this movie. And this did go on to make, 4 movies?
At least 5. So there's 4 in the original.
Oh, and then we just bought...
But then we have Critters Attack, which isn't in the Critters canon. We haven't watched Critters Attack either. We got it for like $1 at
Big Lots.
Big Lots going out of business.
Yeah.
So. And I was like, well, we have the box set. This isn't in the box set. So we looked it up and it wasn't. Also, like, I bet it's bad.
Oh, but you know what? I love this movie. It is a great cult classic. It's also just a good movie. The acting is good. The score is good. I feel like I say that a lot, but like,
I'm a music guy.
It's
I
good.
pay a lot of attention to the scores and stuff.
You guys, I'm sorry this was a freaking mess tonight, but it's been real. It's been fun. Take us out, babe.
I love you, motherfuckers, and good night.
Good night.